All right. Oh, let's see. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Hey. Oh, I need to update my little frame there. Yeah, let's see. Let's do this one instead. Cool. Yeah. It's a little bit off center now, but make do. Kind of fix this a little bit, and we're good to go. Cool. All right. Hey guys. It has been a long, long time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're in March. I think the last time I was able to stream might have been November. Um, all of the times where I was available to be able to stream, the times have been scooped up already, and I just didn't have time outside of that to be able to stream. So I'm here now, and I'll be here next week as well. And the thing that we'll be doing today, I need to make sure that I have the right texture. But what we're going to do is start working on a character for a design challenge by School of Games in Germany. Yeah, here we go. So we've got our Clumsy Witch and Clumsy Witch 2. I'm going to use the Witch 2. Let's go ahead say add to spotlight. You see it's really, really big. That's fine. Let's go ahead and scale it down. That's how you know it's quality. Really, really big. Okay. So yeah, this is our character that we'll be working on today. What I want to do, just kind of make the opacity nice and dark. I have a couple things I need to make sure of before I get started. Okay. I have brush. I need to go down to samples. Since we added a spotlight image, we need to say spotlight projection and turn that off. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, let's see. Let's say texture. We're going to say save spotlight. Okay, we're still underneath that same folder, so we're going to be great. Let's say Clumsy Witch spotlight. And there we go. So now we have our spotlight saved for next time. Boom. All right. Motion bug. Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? Ahmed, how are you doing? What are we going to learn today? Hopefully some fun stuff. I don't have anything specific planned except for just starting to work on this. And there's my stylus. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get this all started. Start from a sphere, and we'll get going. Okay. Let me see. How is everybody doing? Things are kind of heavy. Things are kind of weird lately. Hey, Christoph, how you doing? Okay, we're gonna start off by kind of blocking in this lovely character's head. Grab my little polysphere here and kind of block out this ear. I love these deformers. Okay, these deformers underneath the gizmo. Hold on, give me a second. All right, they're super, super helpful to be able to get some really cool, simple effects when you just drag out your primitives. So I'm going to say flatten, and I'm actually going to turn on my symmetry down here. So now everything that I do on one side is going to happen to the other side as well. So now I just have this little disc right here. I use this sort of shape often enough to be able to block in characters' ears that I should probably just go through and add it to my brush primitives. I probably should. And maybe I will at some point. We'll have to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll say accept. And then we'll just position this so that it feels more better. Okay. You know what? let's grab this the move infinite depth. That way we can just kind of grab this and just taper out that ear so that it's got that you know, straight into the head sort of effect going on. Okay, so that's going to be something kind of like that. For right now, I'm going to split these ears out. Let's go through and rename it. Ears. We'll rename this one head. And then let's go ahead and we'll say save. That way we have, these are other things that I went through and kind of played around with. I'll probably go through and check it out or whatever and see what it is that I've got. I was going to start with a base, but then I don't know. I kind of decided I wanted to just play with it, you know, just do it, blocking it in and being really artistic with it rather than. Oh, yeah, let's go through. That's not the one that I wanted to use. Let's turn off the visibility on that so that it's just it's kind of just a file name placeholder sort of thing. Okay, I like to have that, you know, just a basic shape at the very top. Keep it hidden, and that's the way that I keep my my name straight there. All right. Okay, we are on our way. Okay, so one of the things that I need to be able to go through and figure out right off the bat is kind of how the planes of the face are going to be happening. Hey Leonard, how are you doing? Did you make it back down from you made it back down from San Francisco, right? Hope that was a fun trip for you. Yeah, so I just need to go through and kind of figure out how I want the planes of the face to go. And what I'll probably do really quick is I'll put in another little primitive for the nose. Okay, so just kind of blocking that in. Give it a little bit more of that shape here. Maybe have it start off so that it's a little bit more narrowed to the face here at the base. There we go, kind of like a little bean nose. Alright, and then let's see about blocking in some eyes. One of the things I like to do pretty early on, and let's see, now we have two polygroups. Let's do this first off. We're going to say groups, so that way I can go ahead and, you know, dynamesh that and not have to worry about it meshing into the face yet, so I can keep that nice, clean, sharp transition. I'm just going to kind of play with that nose just a little bit for a second. All right. Cool. So now what I want to do is I'm going to kind of sketch in the eyes. This is where things get to be a little bit more fun. You know, just kind of figuring out kind of where it is that things are going to get placed. I like to use the damn standard. Just a nice simple brush. Use some clay brush to kind of push in that area too. Okay, that'll probably get moved and adjusted quite a bit as we are working along. As you can see, I'm already adjusting it. But you know, that's how you do. That's how we do. Okay, I think that's actually quite a bit too low down here. So what I'll need to do here, let's just undo for a second. Bring this back to kind of where it was. Never made it. The holiday was... Oh, that's right. That's right. I've been doing all right. I've been doing all right. Just kind of working, living life. as much as I can, you know. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember from your email if you had said that you had made it and ended up having to suspend plans, or if you had stayed home because you had to suspend plans. But yeah, let me see, something like that. I'm gonna kind of sketch in this mouth. One of the things I like to do, one of the things that I've been doing a little bit more recently is like when I first started off using ZBrush, I would always just use the damn standard to be able to block in a mouth like that. But one of the things that I've found really helpful lately is that if I use my move brush and then I come down to curve underneath the brush settings, curve, I hit AccuCurve. This gives you the nice sharp point. So I can just kind of pull this in, so it gives you a nice little dimpled pull there. Okay, so it's super helpful. I can come in and I can kind of pull up on these parts here, and then I can start to sculpt in around that. A lot of this is going to get super modified as we go along, so it's going to look rough for a little bit, but it should hopefully look pretty nice after after we're done. Like I'm saying, we got a little while. We got a couple hours to knock this thing out. I'm guessing that in these couple hours that we have for this stream, between now and 10 o'clock, we will probably get through the upper half of the body, possibly not even the arms and the legs, just like a bust. Not arms and legs, arms and hands. But yeah, how many years have you been modeling? I started in 3D in 2006, so it's been about 16 years. That's when I started learning. I felt like it was such a cool thing to do. I was fortunate enough that my high school had. Oh, I got to turn off AccuCurve now. My high school had a 3D animation class. I mean, it totally blew my mind. A friend of mine invited me to take the class with him, and so I did. We went and took the class and totally fell in love with it. It was awesome, and I have just absolutely loved it ever since. I currently do concept modeling for Netflix Animation. And I've been at other places like Walt Disney Imagineering. I've been at DreamWorks Animation, and a whole bunch of other wonderful places. Warner Brother Games. Okay. Oops. So you see, we're just kind of blocking in this mouth right now. It's not anything fancy. It's just trying to. Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of fix that a little bit. There's a lot going on here with this mouth. I need to play around with it a whole lot to make it feel right. Because it's like I can make it look like the design, but if it doesn't feel right, then it's not worth anything. So I've got to kind of watch that. By the way, if anybody is interested in knowing, maybe what I'll do is I'll pull up the I'll pull up the School of Games post on Instagram, and I'll share that with you so that you guys can get to it if you guys were interested in joining and trying it out. School of Games. There we go. So this is School of Games. Okay. It's a fun art school located in Germany. Okay. Super, super neat. Just fun little exercise. They did one of these last year as well, and I'm one of the panel judges. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll send this to you in the chat. And if you're interested to join, all you do is this is the theme. Okay, it's Magic Apprentice. It's a mood board challenge. So there isn't anything specific that you have to do. Is you just use these items as inspiration. And there have already been several cool pieces done based on this. Like if you look, let me see right here. You can see this is the piece that my friend Micah did. Really, really fun. And you know, she went through and used the mood board colors to be able to color her character. She used different things like, you know, the different pieces from the mood board to be able to decorate and adorn her character. So she's got the little pentagram necklace there. She has another little charm. She has some charmed earrings, the feather, these different leaves, these different plants, the book, all these little things that she's kind of pulled in from the mood board. And she's even got the scissors and some mushrooms and things like that too. But she's keeping it very, very friendly, very cute and things like that. But you can go through. You have all these different words to kind of help inspire you. You can go worried, nervous, shy, clumsy, light or dark. You know, so you know you can be light or dark magic. You know, moth, little, you know, broom or staff, you know, things like that. You know, lots of little things here that you can kind of play around with and get inspired by. And you just take these things and you create a character based off of it. Okay, different symbols, all sorts of cool little things. So I'll keep this up so that we can refer back to it later. But that's kind of where I started with thinking about my character. And right now I'm looking at this and I'm like, I think that we've got a few things kind of going on that I need to kind of modify. So let's do this. I'm going to take the eye section of the character and kind of pull that back and in. I do want to kind of be careful because I do like how streamlined that shape is. So I want to play around with keeping that. I just need to figure out a good way to be able to keep that and make it make sense, if that makes sense. Which means that there might not be a whole lot of an actual anatomy here. I might be pushing too far into it and kind of trying to make too much sense of it. That's one of the things that's always kind of tricky about these sorts of characters that are super shape defined. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to. Sorry, I'm getting like light in my eyes. I'm trying to like sit off to the side so I don't have the lights going right in front of my face. Good grief. All right, let's see. One of the characters that I kind of want to use for inspiration is this guy. I got an honorable mention with this guy on the ArtStation Art Challenge, and he was a lot of fun. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll also pull him up so that I can show you. Le ArtStation. Come down in here. We'll check out Guy. All right. So yeah, this is kind of a little bit of the what I'm thinking so far as anatomy and face and things like that. We'll probably just keep it up here at the top with that first image because it's really easy to see kind of some shape and some plane change things that we have happening on here. So let's do this. I'm actually going to say let's kind of use our trim dynamic. Fill this in a little bit. Even it out. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to change how I approach this. And maybe what I'll do, instead of having it be like purely round, maybe this shape is actually created by a plane change, like a sharper plane change. So yeah, we're just going to come in here. I'm going to define some planes. And what you want to do when you're doing a female character, you want to be careful how how and where you stylize your plane changes. Okay, because these plane changes are going to create a more masculine look, and so you want to be careful with it. Let's go through. I want to try to make sure that the whole time I'm creating these changes, I want them to be kind of soft. Okay, not super hard or anything. Okay, it's kind of bring. That's a little bit lumpy. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that silhouette is working. It's hard with that light hitting me in the eye. It's like I'm going to be dodging this the whole time. Eventually, at some point, I'll be able to kind of sit up, but I've got to wait for that light to kind of move off of my face. Maybe I'll just keep it like that because at least I can see when I have myself sitting like this. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's go ahead and kind of move this over. These ears are actually quite a bit too large. So let's just kind of shrink them down. They're not symmetrical. Look at that. Let's see. Modify topology, mirror and weld. Let's go the other direction because I like this one. I don't like this one. So let's say deformation, we'll say mirror, and then we'll come up and say, oops, mirror and weld. Okay, now we're symmetrical. That's better. Okay. Let's see. Let's try to dig in. Let's give ourselves a little bit more of a nose bridge here, kind of paving the way for what's it called, for eyeballs. And we'll probably block those in here in just a minute. A lot of this is just going to be kind of figuring out how I want this shape to go. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new spotlight by scaling this up, placing this about right here. Okay, let's hit Z. Oh, actually what we need to do is we need to change the opacity so we can see through it. And then we're going to say texture, save spotlight, and we're going to just hit this and I'm going to say spotlight B. Just to keep the name simple, makes it super easy. Is this my Twitch channel? No, this is the official Pixelogic ZBrush Live Twitch channel. I do have my own Twitch channel. Let me link that. It's been a while since I've streamed to it, but that's me right there, twitch.tv/smartest. And in fact, if you look me up pretty much anywhere underneath that username, smartest, as you can see right down there, you'll be able to find me. Instagram, ArtStation, all sorts of places. So yeah, that's me. Okay. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to go to movie. I'm going to say timeline. We'll say show. And then let's turn on perspective. Okay. What I want to do is kind of match this up. About like that. And then I'm going to bookmark it by just tapping on that timeline. Okay. So now what we can do is we can say movie, save. That light. Golly, who made that sun? Yeah, okay, so we've got that. Clumsy Witch, okay, cool. Clumsy Witch _ views. Just call it views, and then we can save over it later if we need to make adjustments. Okay, so let's go through and start making some adjustments to better match the design. I made the design myself inside of Procreate on the Apple iPad. Really enjoyed sketching on the iPad lately. It's been kind of a somebody's angry. Okay, I'm gonna take this and kind of play with the size a little bit just to make it fit a little bit better. And since I have this view, I don't want to have to move my camera around or anything like that. I want to make sure that I can keep this a little bit better. So I'm just going to lock that in place. The dimples were pretty much spot on. That's nice. Let's kind of pull that up. Gotta pull in this chin a little bit. And taper in that head. You can see like the back of the head here too is like super out of place. We'll have to check here in a minute to see if this is actually upholding the shape well or if it's just creating problems for us. Yeah, let's go through and kind of sketch those in. Okay, so you can see right here that how do you use perspective right here. It's just a little button. You can hit P or you can just tap the button right there. Yeah, so you can see like by sketching this out right here to match this eye that it's not enough over on the other side. So I'm going to have to let's just check and see if we can get this to look good. It looks fine. That'll look fine, I'm sure. Okay, so we'll just kind of draw that in just so we can have it and reference it as we are as we're trying to make this work. Let's kind of pull this bottom lip out a little bit more. She's supposed to feel a little bit less attractive. She's supposed to feel kind of like bookworm. I'll say bookworm because that's a non-offensive term. How to make chrome type on ZBrush Sculpt. Are you talking about like a material? I mean, there are materials in here that you can go through and play with. You got like this reflective map material here. You've got different metal type looking materials. I don't use those. but they're there. They're there. Okay. So now that doesn't look good. Okay, what I've got to do is let's go ahead and let's play with making this look right from different angles. Okay. And one of the things that I've got to start doing too is let's get an eyeball in here so we can kind of match the curvature of these eyes. Okay. Something like this is going to start to work. Just kind of smoothing it out some. This stage is always like super hard to work through because it can be really frustrating sometimes. Let's give her a weak chin, make it come back some. It can be really hard. How to make the mouth inside? Yeah, I'm probably not going to worry actually about making the inside of the mouth. If I were to, I would probably come over here and just mask out the mouth. Oh, here, let's get rid of this. Okay, so we've got this. And then we just take this and move it back. And then you could even just like center that and then expand it out, and then you can start sculpting on it and whatnot. One of the easiest things that I've found for being able to make sure that the inside of the mouth is working, or the inside of the eyes, or things like that, is you can come down here to display properties and you can hit flip, and so now you can see inside of that mouth. Yeah, let's leave that masked. So now I can, let's start off I guess with smooth. Okay, we can use inflate. Okay, we can use our move brush. Let's take our Z intensity on our smooth and just kind of like really soften it out. So there's the inside of the mouth. Then I would go through and make things like teeth and tongue separately. I mean, since we did it, I might as well leave it. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea there, being able to do that. Let's add eyes so we can start forming the head properly. Let's say append, or actually let's say insert. The difference between append and insert is that oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Append and insert. So append is going to add an object to the end of your list, the end of your subtool list, and insert is going to insert it just beneath the subtool that you have selected. So I'm going to say insert, if I can grab it, sphere 3D. Woohoo! Okay, let's go ahead and let's grab this. I'm going to turn off perspective so I can see it directly from the side, and make sure that that's at a 90-degree rotation. Shrink it down. I'm going to turn on my transparency so that I can see what it is I'm doing. And I'm going to, oops, turn off symmetry. Okay. Now, one of the tricks that I have for making sure that eyes kind of feel right is I just kind of rotate it outward 5 degrees. Just 5 degrees, just to start. It just makes it a lot easier for it to feel like it's not cross-eyed. Let me see. Oh, I'm losing track of some of these things. Oh, the perspective settings. Yeah, I don't. I can show you. So like if you hit Alt and you tap on the perspective button, you can get in here to these and you can kind of turn things on and off. You have different focal lengths. I don't mess with these a whole lot unless my reference is such that I need to be able to kind of get a more narrow focus or a wider focus. It's not it's not, oh, I don't have perspective turned on. So you can see like there's like a wider focus. Here's a more narrow focus. Okay, so you can kind of play around with those things. Yeah, I typically just leave it at kind of like a default. And these things are pretty dynamic, so it'll change depending on how long, how tall, how big your object is. I turned on transparency. I actually created a shortcut. So Control Alt, tap on that to be able to assign a hotkey, and then you hit Control T, and so now I have Control T assigned to that transparency, so I can turn that on and off really quickly and really easily. It's really nice. I love hotkeys. I'm not one to create what's it called, custom UIs. I don't like custom UIs. It's just, I feel like it's much more of a pain, especially since I do so much. I do a lot of teaching. I teach a stylized character creation class at Noman. I do the ZBrush live streams. So there are things that I'm showing things in ZBrush to people who either use the standard UI or who prefer the standard. It's just easier if I show everything on standard UI, because then everybody can be like, oh yeah, okay, I know where merge down is. I can find that. Oh yeah, and then to be able to hide this, you can either tap on this little clock up here, or you can hold Alt and hit perspective again, and it'll just take it and close it away. Pretty simple. Let me see. McBobbles. So append. Let me show you. So right now I have this head subtool selected. It's not the last in my list, and it's not even the second to the last in the list. So this will be a good way to kind of show you this. I've got the eye that I just inserted right here, right beneath the head, and I've got the ears at the very end. So if I hit append and then I select like the gear, you can see I added it to the end of my list. You can remember that because append has the word end in it. And insert, you're just going through and saying, let's see, let's grab this this helix. You can see it's just inserting it right beneath the subtool that I had selected. So I can just go ahead and delete those now. But that's the thing to kind of keep in mind, is that append, end of your list, insert just beneath whatever it is that you have selected. Yeah, it's really simple. It's a really great little distinction, because when you get into having hundreds of subtools, or even just like a dozen, the difference between insert and append, it makes a big difference, and it's really, really helpful. So I love doing, I love having that option while I'm working on characters, while I'm working in ZBrush. And let's turn that intensity back up again. Okay, so some of these things, I mean, I will be kind of modifying and tweaking and playing with these bits here a ton before we're done. Just c'est la vie, right? One of the things I want to do, so we will probably actually like create something. I don't know, maybe not. Let's not for right now and say we did. No, just kidding. Let's make it just a little bit more subtle, because I think that'll make it a little bit more appealing, just to have it more subtle. Because I think that having it super hard how it was, super obvious like it was, I think that made it just a little bit too look at that. That's going to be a little bit of a mess. I need, here, I'm going to do something real quick. I am going to say slice curve, And what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to kind of just separate out the inside of the mouth and the outside of the mouth. So you can see now I've got these two pieces here, just to make sure that that's not masked. And we'll just come down here to polygroups, and we'll say auto groups, so that way they are their own polygroup. Okay, just a little simple little thing there, but it's a quick trick to be able to kind of, I mean, if you look right here, you can see that the mouth, there isn't a whole lot of thickness right here. It's kind of collapsing in on the inside. So what I want to do is I want to select that inside of the mouth polygroup, and we're just going to move it away from the side of the face. Kind of smooth it out some or something. Let's turn on perspective. It might be a little bit easier to see kind of what's going on here. Okay. Right now, I mean, you'll notice that everything is still like super kind of blocky, not looking awesome, and I don't have all super smooth shapes yet. I keep everything at a very low resolution. If you guys are familiar with other ZBrush live streamers at all, you'll know that it's a very common practice for us to keep the resolution pretty low while we figure out forms, while we figure out shapes and proportions and all these other things. And it's super important as we are developing a character to really just kind of take it easy in this sort of way, because if we go through and try to jump into a higher resolution, it's harder for us to control our shapes. And if we can't control our shapes, then you know, there's no way that it's going to turn out the way that we want it to. I mean, it's like trying to sculpt the entire you know, like a Donatello sculpture, you know, like a full or you know, some other big famous marble sculpture using, you know, a small little chisel, when you've got to be using like a big hammer, big chisel first to be able to knock out your big pieces, or even like you know, cutting off large chunks before you're ready to get into the small details. So that's kind of the principle. That's the idea. It's an old technique that kind of started a long time ago. It's not something that's new, and we're not inventing it on the spot. It's something, you know, we really are trying to just hold to, you know, making things as appealing as possible, and making things as solid as possible. Something like that. Getting a nicer silhouette on the side there, so that's nice. So one of my favorite functions inside of ZBrush is this ability to have the brush, but then also for the brush to have its alt function, its alternate function. So it's just a matter of holding alt and being able to use it. So usually when you use trim dynamic, it's going to kind of press it down flat. Okay, so you can see that. But if you hold alt, it's going to bring it up flat. Okay, so you can use kind of like alternating those things off to be able to get a different look. Use alt to be able to kind of build up an edge, and then the subtractive to be able to you know, just the standard subtractive, the way that it usually is, to be able to really kind of let that build down. I'm going to bring this in a little bit further. Let's kind of bring that smooth intensity down some. It's got too big of a mouth cavity. Okay. One of the things I need to be careful of is that because I have my Dynamesh turned on, Okay, so we're inside of Geometry, Dynamesh. We have the Dynamesh groups turned on. So, hey, Upfinder, how you doing? Because I have my nose in a different polygroup, it's going to polygroup that as if it's its own object. But now I also have these lips and the inside of the mouth as their own separate polygroup. So if I were to go ahead and Dynamesh this, watch what happens. It's going through and it's making it its own little weird shapes. And so now it's like I've got this. Hold on, let's change back to the select rectangle. And then these are the other pieces that I have. Okay, so I've got, the yellow for the lips. I've got the green for the inside of the mouth. And that doesn't work, right? Okay, so we need to make sure that what we do, I'm going to say Control-Shift-A, I'm going to say Control-W, so that that's all one polygroup. And now we can do that, and we've got that just fine. Are you working in studio or freelancer? I am working at home. Haha. No. I am a 3D concept modeler for Netflix animation. I design and build primarily sets at the moment. Let's go ahead and let's go back and turn on Move Brush and turn on that AccuCurve again so we can kind of play with that mouth some more. Yeah, but I also teach stylized character creation at Gnomon, and I do a lot of ZBrush live streaming. So yeah, a lot of fun. First time watching your live. Oh, welcome, Karina. Thank you for coming. It's always nice to have people around when you're streaming. So. Okay, let's go ahead and turn my sketch back on. And I'm going to start to kind of build out these lips. I do need to, oh, that's a little bit too pointed there in the middle. Let's actually just up-res this some. Right now it's at a very low standard resolution, so I'm just going to take it and double that. Oh, shoot. Turn on numlock. 256, just 256. All right, enter. So that this way it should double my resolution, make it a little bit easier to kind of smooth things out, make things look a little bit nicer. Oops. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so AccuCurve. Let me see I saw a question about that. When do you use AccuCurve in your workflow? So like for right now, and you'll see this if you go back to see more of the earlier parts of the stream. But what I did is I used it to be able to kind of pull this little dimple up and in because it creates a really nice kind of overhang there. I also like to use it just to, at times where I want sharper corners. So if I'm, kind of pulling on this, and kind of true that up a little bit, make sure that it's getting a nicer shape in the corner of the eye. This one's kind of tricky at the moment because it's there's some other sculpting that I need to do to be able to make that work, but oops, I don't know why it does that. It's always kind of bothered me. Just a silly little bug. Okay, so we've got this kind of thing going on in here. Okay, get kind of like an eyelid sort of form going in over there. Now, one of the other things that I've found to be super helpful with the AccuCurve, you can also use like your standard brush. If you use it just normal, let me show you just normal. You see how nice and round that is, really super smooth. But if you turn on AccuCurve, this is a really, really cool one, and I'll show you at some point how I use this. You can see it sharpens that up quite a bit. And if you adjust the actual curve here, you can see this curve. If you adjust this, you can make it you can make it a lot sharper. You can make it a lot hit it with that acu curve, yo. Yeah. You can make it sharper, you can make it duller, things like that. Or you could even go through and see, I don't know that I want to modify it. Because I mean, you can go through and take it and make it so that it's, let's try this. We'll say flip vertical. Okay, so you can see like we're getting this sort of effect now. You can say flip horizontal. We're getting this sort of effect now. It's much rounder and blobbier, but it's not as smooth. So really kind of interesting. Let's say flip horizontal. There we go. So now we're back to where we were. Okay, so we'll just leave it as it is now. But yeah, so you get kind of this nice little effect here. So what I'll use this for a lot actually is like if I have hair. And my hair, because the nice thing about the standard brush is that it'll treat all the surfaces as one. It's not going to go through and flatten things together like the clay buildup does. It's going to treat things as a volume. It's really, really nice. And so if I have, just to be able to show you, I guess, really quick. Some beautiful, lovely hair. And then we'll say split hidden. Okay, I'm just gonna say, let's do something like this. I can use things like my standard brush. You see right now it's got like this this gentle sloping sort of shape here. If I use my standard brush and I have that acu curve turned on, watch what happens. Boom. We hit it and we're getting like this kind of cool sort of peaked shape. And it'll peak differently depending on how, the size of your brush and how much geometry you have in there, things like that. So it's a really, really nice way to be able to add and control the shape of your hair. Beautiful. You can tell she's just absolutely lovely. She's ready to hit the town. So we'll get rid of that. Okay, let's get rid of those. This jawline and this ear, I'm not liking how that's sitting. I think I can get it to have the same feel without it feeling wrong. Let's turn off the acu curve. Let's go to the move brush, turn off the acu curve. I don't want the head to be as deep either, so let's see if we can kind of play with this some. I still have to add hair, so her hair can help to create whatever shape difference I need. To see kind of how we do this. That's looking pretty all right. We're gonna have to block in the hair before we say adieu today. Okay, stop it. Okay, let's go ahead and snap back to there. Let's see, let's try. Something kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to kind of just play with. Kind of lower those eyes just a smidgen. And we want to play with that nose some too. Yeah, see, it's like it takes a while to really get these characters to feel like they're fitting and working like exactly how we need them. But yeah, that's just way too low. I think I'm going to need to kind of adjust it to something like that. let's come in here. Actually, let's put this in its spot, and then we can kind of stroke out. That way we have the nostrils placed where they need to be. Boom. Easy, easy peasy. Yeah, very versatile tool. I really, really like ZBrush. I use it for so much. Let's go through and kind of pull this in. It's funny. I get that question at least 2 or 3 times every time I stream. My opinion is that ZBrush is way better. Blender is great, and it's getting better. But I hate the navigation. I hate the way that the tools work. There are some really great things that people have been able to do with it, but I don't feel like I don't feel like it will be my standard tool anytime in the near future. I do know that a few shows, a few movies, a few games have started to incorporate. We even tried using. Yeah, it's just so much more intuitive. ZBrush is much more intuitive. Even at work, we tried incorporating Blender into our workflow a little bit for a couple of things, different render needs. The rendering is awesome, by the way. I love the rendering inside of Blender, using Eevee and cycles, but that's the only thing that I've found appealing to me in my workflow. So yeah, it's not going to be joining my arsenal. Anytime soon. But I don't know. I do keep trying. I do keep checking back on it. It's the first 3D software I tried out back in 2006 when it was just abysmal. It was terrible. But I was able to get an educational license for Maya shortly after, because I found out that was industry standard. Hold on. And that's what I started learning at school too, was Maya. We had some educational licenses available there, and it was awesome. It wasn't until 2012 that I started discovering ZBrush. I love ZBrush. As you can tell, I've got my ZBrush shirt on today too. Let me see. Yeah, I love Arnold. I use Arnold most of the time. Thank you, Arson. I use Arnold most of the time for all my rendering. You've been doing a ton of rendering lately too, though, Prashan. Are you using Redshift? What are you using to render? Yeah, ZBrush is industry standard. I definitely agree with you. So here's the thing. If you're trying to get your feet wet and you're wanting to try a whole bunch of different things and really kind of grind your teeth on the stone of 3D 3D modeling, 3D anything, Blender is a great way to be able to get into stuff. It's I'll call it a gateway drug. Okay. um, you can use Blender as a way to be able to get into 3D, get used to understanding kind of the principle of, I can't remember if they use the same verbology, but the general principles, the general rules of faces, edges, points, or vertices. They're called vertices inside of Maya, but we call them points here inside of ZBrush. So it's just kind of depending on whatever software you're using. Because I'm pretty sure that it's different in pretty much anything. It kind of depends on what it is that you're working into. So, because some programs will deal in voxels, some programs will deal in, there's just a lot of stuff. Let's kind of cut that in there a little bit. Let's get that eye copied over. And what I'm going to do actually as well, I'm trying to decide. Let's do this. Control Shift D to be able to duplicate. We'll say deformation. We'll say mirror. Okay, just so that we're not seeing kind of like the weirdness. Control D. Maybe just once. We'll turn on we'll turn off the Z add on our standard brush. Turn on RGB. Let's go ahead and say color, fill object. We'll say color, fill object. And then we'll just go ahead and change to something simple here. Okay, because my character has, you know what, let's do this. Control D, delete lower, merge down. So that way we have these, and I can turn on my symmetry in the very least. Because she doesn't have, nice round pupils. She has like super kind of cartoony. Cartoony eyes. That's not really working quite how I want it to. Just got to move that over just a little bit. So yeah, for right now, that's going to be kind of like our stand-in eye. Okay, I feel like her cheeks are too wide. Let's kind of check this. Oh, turn on the perspective. That might be why I felt like the cheeks were too wide. Uh-oh. Yeah, let's go ahead and change to our move brush. Oh, not on the eyes, please. And let's start sculpting her expression into her face, because I don't want to have to sculpt it in later. Okay, with the lips, let's I'm going to turn on my mask lasso and just kind of mask that out, so that way I can kind of focus on one lip at a time. Okay, and then we'll come over here and we'll just kind of start pushing and pulling that lip until it feels about right. pull that in. Okay, now let's invert it. Control tap in that empty space. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and mask out the top of the face so we don't ruin kind of that that line that we have there already. I kind of like how the top of that lip is working out. So we're going to go through here. Oops. Too much. Smooth it out. And we'll just kind of work through it some. You know, just kind of like some pull down, some smooth. And we'll just try to even out this shape some, make it appealing. Give it a little bit more twist. So you notice that, like, I mean, I started this thing from a sphere, and I haven't even touched trying to get into any of the other parts of the character yet. A big reason for that is that the face for me really sets the stage for the rest of the character. So I feel like going through and giving it its due attention is really, really important, so that the rest of the character can have kind of a goal to live up to, a tone to be set to, those sorts of things. So yeah, right now let's kind of go through and just I'm trying to define that plane change a little bit. Kind of clean that up a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit here to add. Hey Sai, how are you doing? Yeah, Blender's hit a lot of development over the years. Yeah, it's just not for me. Let me see. Is what I did started to learn stuff and how to polymodel and sculpting, but now I use ZBrush for sculpting and Blender only for modeling and polymodeling. Yeah. Yeah, you find a workflow using Octane lately. Okay. Yeah, I still have access to a free version of Maya because I teach at Noman, so it's so that's pretty nice. So I get to use Arnold for my rendering, but I also have my computer. My work computer has Maya with Arnold on it, so I can use that. Let me see if I can get. A little bit more of this in there. All right. Just to give like a little bit of an indication of like a brow, because she's supposed to have kind of like this worried face. So we're going to see how well we can get this to read. Okay, so A few things that I've watched lately. Um, I've watched a few things that have been related to the Batman universe. Um, I want to start off by saying my favorite Alfreds are Michael Caine. Michael Caine's my top Alfred, but then I also love the dude from Gotham. I think that he is awesome. He is so good. I love his charm, but also his ability to kind of handle himself and his character arcs and all that stuff. So he's just got this, yeah, just this charm to him. Just so much appeal. But then what was the other one that I was watching the other day? I know that, so I had watched Joker yesterday. Um and great movie. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was interesting to see the Batman origin story from that perspective. Um but I hated the Alfred. Oh, and the other thing, Titans. I had watched Titans, and one of the things that really stood out to me was that um, when I forget what the dude's name is, the Scottish actor from Game of Thrones. When he came out, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna be Alfred. That's awesome. He'd be a great Alfred, you know." and, and then all of a sudden, you start speaking in this terrible American accent, and realize that he's not Alfred. He's supposed to be Bruce. It's like, no. Anyway, what have your guys' impressions been? Do you guys have a favorite Alfred? I'll make that the topic of conversation. Let's kind of make the bridge of the nose connect a little bit better. Again, not trying to make this anatomical. I'm just trying to make it so that it makes sense. Um, I like my original sketch, so I'm trying to honor it as much as I can. It's not working for me right there, so I gotta figure out how to make that work. It's just like I feel like the jaw and chin feel a little bit too broad. Let me see. No, I actually haven't ever used Cinema 4D. It's something I'm kind of interested in. My brother's used it a little bit. Yeah, you should get some sleep. Thank you so much. Hey, Javier, how you doing, dude? It's good to see you. Let me see. Mike Pavlovich says that ZBrush is different than any other 3D program and enables him to think outside the box and be more creative. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, Pavlovich he's a dude. He's awesome. Can you give some advice on how to get a job as a 3D sculptor? Um, that's a very complicated subject because I think, oops, do not switch. Um, I think that when people think job as a 3D sculptor, they aren't thinking outside the box. Um, I've had jobs where literally all I did was model furniture, for Crate and Barrel, for product visualization, and it was boring. It was so terrible and miserable, but it was a job. It was 3D modeling, and it got me introduced to a different way of modeling. And because it was supposed to be 3D product visualization for furniture, um, it had to be extremely clean. And so so it was a very different thing. It wasn't I mean, it was kind of almost just a little creatively draining, and it was not fun, but it was something, and it was something that helped to build me into and to turn me into something that was more capable as a modeler, as an artist. Um, so I think the question of um, how to get a job as a 3D sculptor in the industry. I think a lot of people go through and think about things like like concept modelers, like what I do now, um, or doing things um, like statues for like Prime One or for Sideshow, or and those sorts of jobs are super super cool, and they're also super super competitive. They're jobs that those companies usually have a very small pool of vendors, sculptors that they like to use, that they partner with, and and when they need somebody else, or when one of their sculptors, you know, can't take on an extra project because they have too many projects coming in, they have to network, and that's where knowing people and having a portfolio to support it is really really helpful. It's extremely important, um, as you're trying to get the jobs that you want, to be a good person, to have good work ethic, to do good work, and to just be out there, get to know people, talk shop. And I think the more that people know that you know what you're talking about, and the more that people like you, it's not going to be an easy road. I mean, it's like, I've got friends all over the place, and it's important to me to maintain, keep those friendships. Not really even for the sake of having job opportunities, but for the sake of having friends, and as long as you're treating people like people, and have a great portfolio, um, having friends will help. So be a friend, and that'll help. There are a lot of people that have gotten me really good jobs. My Netflix job, for instance, is one that I got because I teach at Noman. My art director took my class. He came and took my class. He was my student. And then he's like, "Hey, you want to come work with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And he got the ball rolling and got me in, and that's how I got to work at Netflix. Um, Lazy radius, turn that up. I've got, I've had other opportunities. My opportunity with, for instance, Imagineering, Walt Disney Imagineering, came because I was working at DreamWorks, and my time on How to Train Your Dragons was coming to a close, and I needed to find my next gig. And a friend of mine that I worked with there at DreamWorks connected me with a friend of his over at Imagineering. And then I was able to go ahead, get that interview, and they liked me and brought me on, and was there for a couple of years, and then the pandemic hit. So, like, you'll never know how things are going to work out, but it's important to be the good person, and to be just to make friends in the industry. Thanks, Leonard. Man, I was so many good people there, and I miss those days. Those were good days. It was such a fun group of people to have been able to associate with. Leonard was one of those, by the way. Anybody who's seeing him in the chat, he was awesome. He was awesome. He had all these awesome sculpts all over his desk that he had done over the years for different Disneyland parks, and awesome. He was also one of those like ZBrush champions. Like he was always like showing like all these cool new things that he was finding and discovering. He was testing out these new new tools and tricks, and oh, he was great. Yeah, Prashant. I mean, not Prashant. Leonard, do you have anything online? It seems like you might have a website at least, but I don't recall. I don't think you do social, right? It's gonna move that over a little bit, I think. Hey, gorgeous. How you doing? Can I try it? What'd you put in it? Everything. You're not gonna be seen. You're clear over there. It's really nice. What did you put in it?
Banana, orange, protein powder, and then like a tropical like papaya, pineapple, peach, something.
It's nice. Merci. Okay, let's see if we can do something here. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Leonard, did you get to work on any of those 50th anniversary sculpts? Cause that was a fun project. Cause I know that I was working on that primarily with John McDonald and Patrick Simmons. Um, oh, you have some stuff up on ZBrush Central? I'm gonna have to go up and check that out too. I didn't know you were up there. Gotta note some things down every once in a while. It's kind of how it works. All right. I think I've got this face in a pretty good spot. Let's add some hair. Okay. I am going to let's bring back our let's go back to our texture. We'll say load spotlight now, so we can just switch back to the original one that we had. And oh, you know what? Let's do this instead. Let's keep it on this one. And we'll come back over here. We have our perspective turned on. Awesome. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm just going to mask out her hair, kind of like a hair base. That's like way too low for what I want. Okay, we'll play with that and see. you know, in the very least, we can go through and kind of bring things out. You know, like we can modify where things are landing. Let me see, I'm gonna need to do this and then to do this. Okay. So let's say we'll come up here to Subtool, extract, and then we'll say, oh shoot, did it get moved? Come on, Subtool, extract. Stupid. Extract, accept. Okay, so now we've got this, and we can start to kind of play around with this. I'm going to smooth it with the bottom polygroup masked. Oh, working on Disneyland stuff. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get on some Disneyland stuff, but didn't get to. I did get to do a little bit of Disneyland Paris stuff, and that was cool. Hold on, is that? There we go, kind of smooth it out some so that it's not too hard. Okay. By the way, like I have keyboard shortcut. Keyboard shortcuts are the things that I will go through and set a ton of. So my keyboard shortcut for solo is Control-1, because in Maya, Control-1 is, you know, isolate selected. So it's super, super helpful. I'm going to go through and just kind of build out or build up some of this hair. And I'm not really looking to get like specific flow yet, or not like a specific. That's too much. Okay, so going to try to keep it in the bounds of what's there. I'm really trying to just kind of give like a false impression of hair. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Are you going to keep the live on your channel or this channel to watch it later? Yeah. So the video on demand, the VOD will be available through the YouTube channel, which I'm pretty sure you can find at. Here, let me see if I can get this to youtube.com/Pixelogic is where you should be able to find it. If you, oh, it looks like it didn't go through to Twitch. Let me know if it went through or not. Hopefully it went through. It looks like there was an internal error going through to Twitch, but it looks like it went through to Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, so if you wanted to be able to go back and rewatch the stream, any of the streams, Pixelogic has a huge library of videos that have been streamed in the past, and a lot of them are categorized by streamer. So oh, here's a spot where I would use my AccuCurve. So let's go ahead and let's use brush, turn on AccuCurve, just to be able to get certain high points and low points, design the peaks. This particular area, though, I don't really need a sharp point. Oh, shucks. I spaced that one. I'll use it as an opportunity. Just make it asymmetrical. And hopefully it's not too asymmetrical for it to bother me, but asymmetrical enough for it to be... Let me see, do I like the Widow's Peak? Nah, I don't like the Widow's Peak. Let's leave it out for now. Okay. So yeah, by going through and using the that Acu curve, I'm able to better design little points like this. It's kind of a neat thing. Never say no. I did some not so exciting jobs because I did. I was given other opportunities. Yeah. I assume you're referring to my comments on the what's it called? On the sofas and the not fun jobs that I did a long time ago. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, everything you do, everywhere you are, it's going to be a networking opportunity in the very, very least. And so the kind of work that you do, the way that you interact with other people, it's going to reflect very, very heavily on your character and who you are. And it's either going to open doors for you, or it's going to be kind of a hard... You know, it can make things a lot nicer for you if you're a good person, do good work, and take opportunities as they come. There are different things you can learn. Let's go ahead and kind of add some little puffs in here. That's going to need to be a lot bigger. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of doing it like this, let's say turn on symmetry again, draw it out right in the middle. Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of pull this up. Geometry. Where's my Dynamesh? Dynamesh right here. Okay, let's turn that on. Turn on groups, unmask. There we go. Whoops. Here, before I do that, let's do this instead. Kind of just shrink this interior part in. Let's just shrink it down like all the way. Something like that, just so that it's kind of just out of the way. Make sure that that's all its own poly group. And we'll hit Dynamesh. Now we can turn on groups. That was funny. I had to inventory all the tooling coming back from Tokyo, spreadsheets and counting, but that got me on on Cars Land. Nice. Yeah, I had to do a bunch of plant inventory for Tokyo. It was a thing. It was... Just take my focal ship, make it big. Kind of make the hair a little less symmetrical. see. Let me add some color to this. This is going to be, she's going to be orange. There we go. Let's change it to skin shade. And let's make her more pink. And less pink. I don't know. It'll probably change later on. Let's say color MRGB, and we'll go color fill object. And then in here, what we can do, I like to use my standard brush to be able to do stuff like this. I'm going to take an alpha. I use alpha 8 usually because it breaks up the pattern pretty well. No texture. Let me see. Let's make this more red. Make it much more red. It's kind of hard to see like color and everything. I'll go back and look at this later, like when the light's not right in my eyes, and I'll be like, what was I doing? Stroke, I'll turn it to color spray, and I'll turn on my color intensity variance down to as low as I can make it. It's 0.05. It's really hard to get it there, but I just go through and double check, make sure that it's there. And this is kind of what it gives you. So I just like to come in here really, really light, kind of give it a little bit of this coloration difference here. Oops. Let's go ahead and make that nice and small. We'll probably go ahead and work on evening out our character a little bit. Like the surface and whatnot. Sounds like my daughter's singing something out at the top of her lungs. Can't tell what it is. It might be like a show that she's watching or something. She likes to sing along. And thankfully, my son humors her most of the time. Okay, one of the things I can't really like see everything in there. So what I'll do is I'll go into display properties and flip, and boom. Super simple. So much easy. And then control 1 to be able to hit that solo. I want to watch some Star Wars. Man. Let's kind of even this out. Don't want to have that weird ridge in there. So there's a mixture of smoothing and the trim dynamic. Okay. Don't have a ton of time left, but still had that all messed in. Oh, that's funny. Let's turn on our standard, and we can just kind of bring in the clown. Just kidding. Bring in the clown. And then just lightly, I'm just lightly trying to get in so that it gets a little bit more color variation. Otherwise, it's just too pasty or too plain or too simple. So we're just trying to add a little bit more in here, and then I'll add like a little bit more of like a pinkish. That's a little bit too much. That's a little bit too heavy-handed. But we can come in, we can kind of tone it back some. It kind of just makes the eyes feel a little bit more, just a little bit more alive, a little bit more fleshy. Okay, let's add in eyebrows and teeth really quick just to make sure that she feels a little bit less unhuman. I'm going to use the topology brush. Skip this until next restart. That's great. And then we're just going to draw on our shape. Something like that. We'll add in more pieces later, and we'll probably actually go ahead as well and you know what? Let's just do 3. That'll work. Now usually I actually go through and put my brush size down to 1 to be able to commit it, but I'm just going to make do with this for right now. I think this will work just fine. So we're going to say split, unmasked. I'm going to put these in an order that makes more sense. Eyebrows. Just kind of pull this in so that this is more in this sort of area. Make it so that it's kind of coming off of the head a little bit more, kind of at the top, just to get a little bit more of that kind of cartoony sort of look. And I have most everything kind of creased already, but what I'd like to do is we will mask out the ends, and let's just double check just to make sure that the top is also its own polygroup. I'm just going to come down here down to geometry, and we're going to say crease PG. Okay, so that way I can turn on my dynamic and it gets a nice smooth shape. Okay, this needs to be darker and possibly more orange, something like this maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and say mRGB. Should we do it with the different matte cap? Let's do it with the startup material. We'll say color fill object. Nah, it becomes too dark. Let's do it with the skin shader. Color fill object. That'll be better. Color fill object. Let's go to these eyes. Let's make sure that the material is filled. So color fill object. We'll go to the ears. Make sure that this is a better color. In fact, let's go ahead and we'll select kind of a rosier color from like the cheek area. And then we'll say mRGB. Oops. I don't need mRGB on move. Let's see, standard. Okay, we'll just kind of paint that on there. Looks like we got it all. That's nice. Okay, I want to do her teeth and possibly her glasses before we cut out. I know I haven't. Let's do this too real quick since we're here. Let's say curve, tube snap. What size display am I using? That's a good question. I have a little tape measure. Let's measure it because I wouldn't know. 27-inch. It is a 27-inch display. Yeah, it's just an external monitor that I have connected to my laptop. It's pretty nice. Polygon. Is it telling everybody that I am Ben? Does it have it listed? Am I listed as? Oh, not Twitter. No, it should be showing up as smartest. Yeah, I'm Steven Anderson. I'm known online as the smartest. So uh, yeah, Ben is fully gone. I actually don't know if he's been streaming lately or not. Um, Man, I was a little bit scared there for a second. I was like, good golly. Let me do this real quick. Let's turn the crease tolerance down to 3, and then the dynamic up to. Yeah, let's do a little bit less then. Let's say crease down to 2. That's a little bit better. And yeah, since I'm here, might as well just, I'm going to insert this loop here. I'm going to crease edge loop partial. And, come on, wrong one. Let's say select lasso. This is a really cool trick, guys. This is a really, really cool trick. I'm going to, with the select lasso, I'm going to control shift click on an edge loop, and it's going to hide just that. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've even saved it. Oh no. Oh no. But yeah, there's my witch. She's one of my favorite characters that I've made. Oh, shoot. If you place 2 cylinders perpendicular to each other at a certain distance, then do bridge. Can you do a bridge that has a 90-degree joint between them? That's a good question. That's a good question. It saved it, guys. Okay, so yeah, now I've got this going on here. So now if I go over here, hopefully it doesn't do it again. Okay, good. We got it. Okay, so now I can just go ahead and control A to mask those parts. And now I've got this. It's okay. It's totally like part of the gig, right? Inflate. Okay. One of the things that I like to do is I like to vary where this goes. So I'm going to think, let's have this go a little bit more extreme down here. Don't want this up top. Yeah, let's have this go up. Have this go up. And this will help to kind of increase the sense of the emotion that we're trying to portray in our character. So it's just a really kind of a neat, simple little trick that I like to use when I'm doing chunk eyebrows anyway. Okay, so that'll be good enough for that for right now. Let's save. Clumsy witch. Let me see. That was scary. Yeah, it can be sometimes. Got to get one of those ellipse curtains. They block out all the light. Yeah, that'd be so nice. I ought to. I thought about doing that for a bedroom, but I haven't yet. I would do something like that out here, but it's kind of nice having the light come in. It's just right in my eyes. Which artist do you recommend for learning props like shoes, gloves, etc.? Matt Thorup has some awesome stuff. He has a great. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. You'll know him as the Red Beard. Yeah, he has some awesome tutorials here. And he goes through this particular one right here, Advanced ZBrush, Female Design and Hard Surface. This is an awesome series. Now, when I always take level of difficulty with a grain of salt when I'm learning a new software package, because really it's not going to be any more difficult than any, basics are basics, sure, like form and color and things like that. But hey, thanks, Prashant. It's good to see you, brother. but really like most of the workflow that you're ever going to use, um, the basics are really like what the professionals use. It's it's why they're professionals. It's because they've gotten so good with the basics that they can make anything out of it, right? So um, so this is a really great source. I also have my own things that I do. If you're interested in kind of checking that out, um, there might be. Oh, there was a sale going on. There isn't right now, but if you're interested in checking that out, there's also I have my own courses and resources, courses and resources. Different things like, you know, character modeling for animation, talking about being able to create a full character maquette. I've got hard surface modeling. I've got, you know, different tools for different types of hair. My standard hairbrush. I've sold, I don't know how many, a couple thousand. So yeah, lots of different things up here. Um, and there's also flip normals if you wanted to be able to check out flip normals. I'm not going to worry about pulling that up though. Because I want to get back to this. So yeah, and it's neat. It's neat. I really like being able to kind of play around with this sort of stuff. Oops. Turn off the Z hat. Turn on RGB. Yeah, I'm not gonna play with that for right now. All right. So let's go ahead and do what we were about to do. And let's bring in texture, load spotlight, spotlight B. We got to come over here to brush, samples, spotlight projection turned off because it crashed, and so we got to start over again. Crash my gosh. Okay. So let's see. Let's do this. Let's get some eyelashes in here so that she looks a little bit less weird. So one of the things I want to point out is that you see how like wobbly that line is, and you also see how it's a constant thickness. I want to be able to modify that. So what I want to do is I'm going to come up to stroke. I'm going to go to curve. I'm going to say lock start and lock end. I like to usually do that so I can make sure that I can just modify the shape as I need to, but I keep the ends constant. Okay, I'm going to turn on lazy mouse, and I'm going to turn this up to something kind of outrageous. Modestly outrageous. Modestly outrageous is, I'll say it like that. We'll say curve modifiers, and I'll turn on size. And then with the curve fall off, I'm just going to pull the ends down to about the same size. And then I'm going to bring this middle up. Okay, and we can kind of, you know, push that out as we need to, just to be able to make sure that this gets nice and thick. And actually, I think I might have this moved a little bit further toward the end, so that the beginning, you can see it's got a little bit of a delay. Okay, so you can see this is kind of what we're getting. Let's say Control H so that we can see what that looks like. But now I can grab this. Oh, did I not turn on the start? Lock start, lock end. Let's see. There we go. I don't know why it's going so slow. Maybe that's a sign that I need to save. Kind of, if you grab onto the curve and then you hit shift and hold shift, it'll let you go through and kind of smooth out the curve instead of smoothing out the geometry. It's like if you just hold shift and then start smoothing, you see it smoothing out the geometry, and that's not what we want. Okay. It's not too bad. so this is going to be kind of like a silly, chunky sort of eyelash. Oh, the lazy mouse shouldn't be slowing it down, but you might be right. You know what? Let's see. Subtool, split unmasked. The head has different materials to it. So, color, fill object, turn that off, it doesn't need it. Okay. Let's come down here, let's grab these, and we will say, you know what, let's keep it like this. Make it a little bit darker, MRGB, color, fill object, just to kind of fill in a little bit of that. It's a little bit too strong of smoothing there. Okay. Let's grab this bit right here. I'm going to say Control A, and let's invert it. I'm just going to kind of pull this out. And I wanted this to be a fairly simple eyelash. I've got a couple of ways of being able to make this. The reason I started off with a tube this time is because I was trying to see if maybe the tube was the way that I wanted to go. But I don't know. I feel like it's not quite what I want. So I'm trying to explore more of like a clamshell shape now. Yeah, that's not what I want either. Okay, so that's a little bit better. And let's kind of thicken that out just a little bit. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and let's add in, let me see. Let me check the schedule really quickly, because I don't want to finish this without adding in the teeth and glasses. But if I have to, I will, and I'll just go ahead and I'll just go ahead and get over into my own stream to finish it out or something. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Because I definitely took a little bit of time going in and okay, so there's nobody streaming again until tomorrow. Got Ian on tomorrow evening, and then we've got Shane Olsen on Monday morning. Okay, so I'm going to do this then. I'm going to go ahead and do another couple little bits here just to be able to sort of finish this out some. Yeah, let's make our brush a little bit smaller so that it isn't too crazy. The smoothie that never ends. this nice and big. I'm going to make my focal shift kind of ranged up a little bit, so that way it has a little bit better of a fall off. I just want to softly get this tip here. I want to even out that shape some. I'm trying to decide, and this might be something that I go through and totally nix, but you know, gotta have it before you decide you don't want it. So far I'm deciding I really don't want it. Yeah, I'll worry about it later. I'll just leave it for now. Let's go ahead. Let's add in those teeth that I've been talking so much about. Okay, I'm going to say insert, and it doesn't really matter what I insert. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it. You see, this is this polarized cube. I really don't like polarized cubes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to initialize. I'm going to say Q cube. You see, you think it looks like it might have disappeared, but it's actually just right in here. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to come down and I'm going to start to place this. Now some people go through and use they'll use like a cylinder to be able to do the teeth. Some people do all sorts of different things. I'm going to use this little piece right here and actually just block in a couple of teeth. I'm not really super bothered. Here, let's say move infinite depth for now. I'm not trying to make this be like absolutely perfect, and it's not going to be a production model, so I'm not bothered with having less than perfect sort of sort of teeth. I just need it to look good and to fit the character. So let's go ahead, let's grab the Z modeler. I'm going to get rid of, there was an intermediate edge loop right here, so I'm just getting rid of that. Okay, let's say underneath geometry, we'll say crease PG. And you see right now it's got really, really sharp corners. I don't want the super sharp corners. So, in fact, let's go ahead and say crease edge. Let's uncrease those. We'll leave it. Okay, bring that crease down to 2. The dynamic, turn that on. Smooth level up to 3 or 4. And you see that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to turn off my symmetry, and we are going to make sure this is the right size, and just going to come over and start placing it. Get another one in here just so that I can start placing them together, I guess. Let's see, we'll go ahead and make sure that we have 2 different polygroups for our teeth. Get these big old buck teeth in here. Okay. Just going to pull this back. In fact, let's turn on X symmetry just so that we can make sure that we're getting this like in the nice shape that we want. Okay, just kind of turn off that symmetry now. Thanks, Andrew. me see. Let's turn this on. I'm going to, yeah, we'll leave it, I guess. I keep kind of going back and forth between, you know, should I keep that full, the full character here, like the close up of the character here? Should I go to a different view? I don't know. It's just one of those kind of tricky ones. Tricky fish. Now, I don't want it to feel too off center, but I do want it to feel like it's got character, like it's got, yeah, so we're definitely playing around with that some. Okay, that feels pretty good now. And we'll see later on, you know, how well we feel like that fits in. There may be a possibility of me going through and giving her braces. I think that could be super cool. I've never given braces to a character before, I don't think. So we'll have to check and see if that works for us. Let's go ahead and turn on the transparency again. And we'll invert our mask, Control W, just so that it's its own polygroup. Let's go ahead and kind of pull this around some. So now we've got that. I'm just going to bring this back so that it's pretty close to being symmetrical with, or on top of the other piece, and I'm just going to say deformation mirror. And then, yeah, I guess we can go through, we can make sure that that's its own thing here. Oops, no folder, no folder, no folder! Did it put a folder? It didn't put a folder, good. Control T. Okay, I feel like she's not feeling nervous enough. Like I want her to feel more nervous. So I think a lot of that's going to come from the eyes. Let's go through real quick. And I'm going to hide that. I'll leave it there, but I'll hide it. Okay, I'm going to take this part. And just kind of raise it up some. A lot of the nervous sort of feeling, I think, is going to come from her teeth and like having her teeth be together. Right now, it just looks like a smile. It doesn't quite feel right. Here, let's go through. Let's do this. There are a lot of things that I try to do and think about when I am trying to design a character. You know, some of the things that I feel like kind of worked with the character in the sketch are a little bit harder to put across. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate those teeth, center that. Turn it around. I need to shrink it down some because they're the bottom teeth. And then we'll just kind of like place those up in there. It might just be a matter of like the pupils feeling too large. Let's add on the glasses. And kind of see how that feels. Let's save it though. Because of course that's, you know, gotta make sure I save. Getting into ZBrush, attempting to learn 3D overall. Do you feel you had a solid foundation of 2D before getting into 3D? I feel like I'm only just now kind of starting to get more of a solid grasp on 2D. I feel like both complement each other, but I don't feel like either is necessary for the other to be successful. I know some amazing sculptors that are terrible with the pencil, and vice versa. People who are, I do feel like, generally speaking, though, people who are really good in 2D make much better sculptors because they've learned how to observe and how to put that onto paper or onto Procreate or whatever it is that they use, Photoshop, Corel Painter, whatever they use. But I feel like going the other way around, it's much less common. A good example of somebody who was an amazing 2D artist that made a tremendous leap into 3D is Gabriel Suarez. Let me show you. Oh, Gabriel Suarez. Italian rower. An Italian rower. He's an artist. So you've probably seen his stuff around. He's tremendous. He's super super good, and he started off as a 2D artist. But he made a jump into 3D. I can't remember which one was his first one, and he just took off. And he's super 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 good. So yeah, he's one that I'd recommend kind of looking at and studying a little bit, because he's very good at kind of pulling his own 2D style into the 3D. As you can see with all of his 3D characters, I mean, he designed these himself. He's a tremendous artist, super super good, really really nice guy too. So yeah, he's worth checking out. Okay, so here is our character. Every once in a while I'll go through and I'll see like little incontinuities that I kind of want to just tweak. And that's kind of what it's about. You're going to see little bits here and there as you progress along on your characters that you're like, "Oh, that needs to be fixed." And it's better to just fix it as you see it. I try not to obsess too much over things, and I try to just like do a quick fix, and then move on to the next thing. And if something bothers me later, then I fix it later. It's a matter of fixing things as you find them, and not getting too hung up on one particular thing, so that way you can kind of progress along and make something that works. For glasses, okay, let me show you kind of something that I'll typically go ahead and do is I like to use my insert mesh primitives. I have made like rings to be able to make glasses pretty quickly, pretty easily. And I'll probably use that here in a minute. But another way that I like to use it is like, you can use a cylinder, you could use a sphere, and then just kind of flatten it out and get rid of whatever rings are not usable for you, and create thickness out of it, whatever. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and use my rings. I'm the kind of person that really, really likes to have. Let's turn off local symmetry. And then something really simple that we can do. First off, let's say split unmasked points. Pull this down below everything. Let's put this at the bottom. Let's rename this glasses. And then I'm going to say deformation and inflate. And I'm just going to negatively inflate this. Set this really, really super thin. Okay. I'll probably have to modify this again later, but for right now, that's not too bad. Take the opacity, turn that way down so we can see through it. Go to movie, timeline, show. I've got to load the view that we had before so that I can match her back up. Okay. Now these glasses are not large enough and they're not quite high up enough. So let's go ahead, let's do this. Local symmetry now. Do something like that. Do something like that. And then it doesn't feel quite, like it feels a little bit too thick still, so I'm just going to negatively inflate that again. And there we go. So there's kind of like the start to our glasses. I do want to make sure that they are dark enough to see. So let's go over here. Well, you know what? It might not even need to be dark. Let's just make it the startup material. We'll say color, fill object. And that way it just looks like it's like a light metal. Nothing fancy. For the teeth, let's go ahead, skin material here. Let's get this to be a good tooth color. And teeth are never plain white. They're like an off-white, gray, yellow. So I like to find kind of like this kind of medium sort of tone in here, and you look at that and it feels kind of like ivory-ish, right? So that's kind of the plan of what I shoot for with that. And then mRGB, color, fill object. Let's go down to the bottom teeth. Good. Color, fill object. Okay. That hair is going to need a lot of work. But in the very least, it's practically, you know, coming along-ish. With the glasses, I'm going to duplicate it for now. And I'm going to turn off symmetry. Control-Shift-A. And let's see. Just going to hold Alt and click on these, you click and drag from one point to the next. That way I can get this to be nicely centered here. Okay, let's go ahead and center that. Oh, look at that. It's like it's way thin. Like it's not round like I want. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay. Control W. Now I can just say QMesh, polygroup all, and then start pulling that out, but I'm going to hold Shift so that it's like extruding, it's like it's pulling that out instead of having it. Thanks, Wonton. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have a ton of fun, and it's I have a ton of fun. I really love ZBrush. Oh, interesting. How about that? I did not know that had stuff there. Geometry, modified topology, delete hidden. Let's try this again. Control W. And then we'll just get rid of this this extra little line back here. This extra, not crease, insert. Yeah, I have fun, and I think that's the main thing for me, is that, you know, just having fun. Delete hidden. Let's turn off perspective. Let me see, where do I have it? Yeah, I have it about right there. That's fine. Let's turn on transparency, and then we will turn on turn on the symmetry here. Mirror and weld. Oh, but we want to go the other way. We got to get this working. So if we just do it and we just push it far enough, it should, oh, I have local symmetry turned on. Duh, that's why. Okay. Mirror and weld. That's better. Now I feel like all is right in the in the program, because not in the world for sure. Move infinite depth. That out. And yeah, what we can do now is we can go ahead and we can say bevel, edge loop complete. We'll just give it something like that so that it's not a nice sharp point. And it looks pretty good. She's starting to look like our character a little bit here. Really quick before we tune out. I just want to make sure that this has a little bit closer of eyes to what I have in my sketch. That might be a little bit too creepy though. I don't know, what do you guys think? It looks a little bit too creepy. I think it looks too creepy. Leonard, it was good to hear from you, brother. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, ZBrush is actually really quite nice, though. It is intimidating at first, but it's one of those things that you get used to. Since it is industry standard, it's definitely what I recommend. If you have the ability to get into it and learn it, I totally say just go ahead and dive into it. There are tons of resources for you to be able to really, be able to play around with it. See, it's starting to get the look so much better now. So much better now. So yeah, if you can get into it, I would totally recommend doing it. Pixelogic does have the ZBrush Core Mini that they. She looks terrible. Yeah, she's supposed to look kind of nervous or clumsy. So yeah, I'm having her. She's going to be a little bit more. Yeah, she should hopefully feel a lot more clumsy. Let's see. For the local symmetry, I'm going to turn off mirror, so that way hopefully I can turn the eyes so she's looking in a direction. Okay, so this eye is looking all right. That eye's not quite though yet. So let's do this. I'm going to say, let's undo it. I'm going to say polygroups, auto groups. That way I can go ahead and kind of turn both. But then I can go ahead and say, oops. Control Shift A. And I can say, let's rotate this one back. just a little bit. Doesn't feel quite right, so let's hide the mask. In fact, let's see if we can just match it up with the sketch. Let's okay, we've got that one that's, yeah, it's pretty spot on. Yeah, it should be all right. It should be all right. Do you have any tips on where to start? Really, like the best way to start is just to kind of dive in and to kind of play around, get used to the way that you can navigate through the software. One of my favorite things about Pixelogic is that they do have the all those resources available online for free. You know, it's there's so many. You know, we got like the live streamers like myself and some of my friends. We have there's the Ask ZBrush series also on YouTube. Yeah, there are so many neat things just available, and these are things that weren't available when I was learning. Things that have been made available in, you know, more recent years. But man, so cool. Trying to decide exactly how I want this to go, just so that it looks a little bit less crazy. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll take this hair and I'll split it out so that it's its own thing. And I'm trying to decide, what do you guys think? I'm trying to decide whether to have it be one poof ball in the back of her head, or to have it be kind of multiple. Wait, what's going on? Snake hook. Why did snake hook kind of... Okay, we're good. One of the things I like to do is snake hook for this particular style. Back face masking. But yeah, get in, play with it, try it. Watch live streams, because there are so many different ways to go about doing the same thing. And each artist that you watch is going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to do it with one clump. Kind of like the way that it's breaking up a little bit here. It's kind of neat. Might be in part because I have the back face masking turned on. Let's go ahead and pull that up, pull this down. It's just a matter of kind of pushing and pulling things until you feel like it works. Ah, interesting. Oh, well, that's fun. Yeah, so back face masking on snake hook. I've never tried it before. I just assumed that it would kind of work like snake hook, but with the back face masking turned on. Um, it's working a little bit differently than I had expected, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Um, let's go ahead and pull that back. Oops. Pull this forward. Kind of pull this back some. It's crowding the ears too much. Just kind of give it a little bit of more like a shape change, a plane change through here. Just kind of accentuate some of these shapes. And then we got to make sure that our Dynamesh is turned on. I'm going to turn it up to 256. Turn off groups. Getting some interesting things happening in here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to force it to feel kind of unkempt. I'm trying to make it feel like it's bushy, just bushy. Maybe not so much that it's unkempt, more that it's like it's untamable. Tips for getting into 3D printing. Sculpting for 3D printing. That is a good question. I do actually have a little bit of my mermaid course has a 3D printing section. Let me show you. Let me go back to myself here. In this course, I don't have any pictures up. Dang it! I need to see if I can fix that. Let's see if this works. Look up SMAARTIST on flipped normals. So for the full course, it's $400, but I just wanted to be able to come over here to be able to show you guys. Oh, I didn't include pictures on there either. Okay, I know for sure where I have pictures, or at least a picture. About me, right there. So I do go through and talk about in that course. There's a 3D printing section for you to be able to, where I share my process and some different thought consideration of how I go about splitting up my model, some different tricks about kind of where you can split things and hide it, like in the case of this particular character. Don't know how easy it'll be to see, but I mean, you can see right here, this split is actually happening right where her necklace is. And so the necklace itself, when the head's inserted into the body, the necklace itself is hiding that seam completely. Yeah, and then, you know, the hair and everything there. You can see like the hair, and then, you know, I've got the hair and how that connects into the head. You know, so yeah. It's a fun little project. I always get kind of nervous taking it out because I don't want to. I printed it out a lot smaller than I wanted to, just for the sake of being able to fit it on my print bed. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, if you wanted to be able to find that, I recommend looking for it on ArtStation because you'll be able to find the full course. You can find just topology or just the 3D printing engineering. Those will come with some resources attached to it, so you know it's kind of fun. So yeah, it's a great one. It's a great one to kind of dig into if you wanted to be able to check it out. And I want to keep working on this, but I need to get doing like other things and be a human and have a life or something today. Um, and I need to help my family to have a life today too, so that they're not just, you know, constantly waiting for dad. Bless their hearts. Let's kind of tweak that a little bit. Tweak that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, so far she's all right. I mean, there's still a ton left for me to do to make this so that this works out, you know, really exactly the way that I want it. But yeah, we'll kind of see where this goes to. I do kind of want to eventually get a much cleaner shape for these clumps here. But that'll be another time. In fact, I might go through and do like a composite of spheres to be able to make that stuff work well, work clean. But yeah, so we'll see kind of where this goes. Let's go ahead and load up the other spotlight just for the sake of wrapping up the stream. Oh, the misery. Oops, let's grab this. We'll hit the smooth just so we get a nice preview of what those glasses look like. The glasses too. In fact, let's do. Ah, man, I can't ever just stop. Not samples. Curve, AccuCurve. I'm gonna turn off my symmetry. And oh no, that's not what I wanted. Texture, load spotlight. Let's bring this back up so that it's so I can see what the shape of the glasses are supposed to be. Oh, and let's do this too. Let's say auto masking, topological, and then we'll just go in and we'll start. Come here, you. There we go. Come on. It's like they're so thin that it's kind of impossible for me to. I don't want it to be there. Let's grab it and kind of pull this up a little bit more here. Something like this. And then something like this. I just want to make these glasses feel much less round. I feel like it'll help to add to her kind of clumsy sort of nature, that part of her personality. Let's go ahead and do something like that. Okay. Okay, now I'm calling it good. We're calling it good officially. It's good. Load spotlight. Let's get back to that original one. Okay. And save. Clumsy Witch 3. Awesome. Yes. So yeah, that's where we're going to end it for today. And man, it's been a fun couple hours hanging out with you guys. I always enjoy getting on and playing around, having fun, creating characters. I can appreciate that R roll. Duolingo must have put in some serious work. Actually, I didn't learn the R roll from Duolingo. I speak Spanish. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. I love Spanish. um, but yeah, so that's where I'll end it for today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming and having fun. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope that was helpful in some way to you guys. I will be on again next week, same time, 8 o'clock Pacific time. So yeah, feel free to come join me again then, and we'll continue this character. I will possibly take some time during the week between now and then to work on this on my personal stream. I'll probably try to block in the rest of the character or something so that there's not so much to do in a stream and so little progress. But this is good progress. We got a lot done. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you next time I see you. Smartest out.